My name's Sarah England. I'm a professor in obstetrics and gynecology at Washington University, and my interests are really aberrant activities that happen during pregnancy and how they affect reproductive outcomes.
I'm Erik Herzog, a professor of biology at Washington University, and my lab studies the cells, molecules, and systems that regulate daily rhythms in things like sleep and wake and physiology during pregnancy.
The data set is from a group of women who were actually patients who were enrolled during pregnancy. And we followed by looking at their activity with the hopes they were actually participants and they were recruited from the clinic here at Barnes Jewish Hospital that is associated with WashU. And we just wanted to see their behaviors during pregnancy. And so they were given an actigraphy monitor before 20 weeks, and then they were followed throughout their course of pregnancy until they delivered. These are women who are a little bit higher risk, who have a lot of social adversity. So this is really a unique set of women.
The women were remarkable to work with. We were exceptionally lucky to recruit over 1,000 women who contributed samples, including motion watch data. They all seemed very motivated to have a healthy pregnancy and were very interested in our hypothesis that your daily sleep schedule might relate to your risk for preterm birth. And so they wore motion watches in the first, second, and third trimesters. And the data that we've uploaded includes separate files for each trimester from most of the women. And the motion watches collected wrist movements every minute for at least a week and typically much longer from each woman. The data have been cleaned and examined for quality now. We did not at this time upload some other data that we've collected from these women, and we are eager to hear from the community if they're interested in things like we made light measurements with the same watches, hormone measurements, and collected many other survey data from these women. I think we're very excited that there's such deep phenotyping on these women that people may have questions about their lifestyles and how it relates to their sleep and their health outcomes. And so we hope that researchers will use this actigraphy data to dig deeper into other correlations between people's sleep and specifically pregnant women's sleep, which has not been very carefully described, where we've followed longitudinally the same individuals throughout their pregnancy. So you can look at things like changes in actigraphy with experiences during pregnancy.
I'd like to, address that many of the studies don't look kind of before 20 weeks, and there's actually a subset of women before 20 weeks. So the trimester data, as Erik said, the longitudinal data is really exciting, but trimester specific events or trimester specific pathologies, I think is going to be a really interesting aspect of this data set. I think that there are probably many reproductive outcomes that actually could be investigated. Obviously, we recruited these women. Our population is very at high risk for preterm birth, but I think that there are other conditions that actually could be addressed. Things that happen during pregnancy, hypertension, gestational diabetes, many other aspects of pregnancy that I think would be, highly related or that could be extracted from this data set if somebody was willing to look further into this. Populations at higher risk, I think that this is a great opportunity to look at a high risk population.
I think one of the real gifts that sleepdata.org provides for the community is an opportunity to see if new algorithms for an analysis of wrist actigraphy can be validated on different populations. And this is a population that their sleep has not been very carefully quantitated. And so we are very interested in any new tools that could be applied to these actigraphy to extract features beyond what we've already measured, things like sleep onset, sleep offset, mid-sleep chronotype phase, those sorts of things we've measured in addition to cycle-to-cycle variability and circadian phase distributions. I think there might be other new things to be measured in these data.
I think we realized this is such a rich data set that, we looked at it for like kind of a very directional one study, but there's so much to be gleaned from this data set that other investigators may, they may look at it from a very different perspective. And that's why you share a lot of these data. And also, as Erik said, new tools that could be developed. And for us, we may find something, but it's not true in another population. And these allow comparators that, that we would never be able to do this study alone. And I think that's the important part, is that this may add to numbers of other groups who are studying preterm birth, but add another population, that is in the Midwest, different adversities. So I think it just, all this is it's very additive to what is already there, and hopefully will, I don't know, advance just science in a way that it's, for us to have to repeat this study in a different cohort it's just ridiculous. So I think it's going to give us some opportunities to look at multiple populations looking at similar questions.
I think it's really important for us to just say it, that we really appreciate the opportunity to share our data in such an easy, centralized way. We love the idea that now people can access these data without asking us to send the data or give them access. And so we're very we've always been open about sharing our data. These data were generated as a result of a 5-year grant. And the idea that there's more that can be extracted from them is really in the spirit of why we did this work. We want to learn as much as we can about these people and help people have healthy pregnancies.
I think these data sets live on, which is actually, I think one of the beauties of this is that investigators move and they do different things, but the data sets live on. And I think that is also an important part of these larger data sets. I think that, like, when you go into science, I think before, I don't know, I'm probably the eldest here by 2 months, that, it was all kind of mine, mine, mine. And I think that this is, it's changed over time. I think it's, we all went into this to make things better, to help, mine was to help pregnant women. And the mission is larger than our individual laboratories. It is really to influence a field. It's to lessen the burden of preterm birth. And it really doesn't matter which investigator solves this problem, but if our data was a part of, of the collective movement of solving a really significant health care issue, then it will have been worth it. So it's very mission based, I guess, for all of us to share our data.
We've been pleased that we have been able to share our data with researchers that we know, and now we'll hopefully be able to share data with researchers we don't know, and that this will become an international resource so people can access it no matter where they are.
We really wanted to make sure that the data was cleaned and that we're giving people great data sets. And now we're confident that what we put in there is really, you know, really good data for investigators and hopefully new people in the field to utilize to get excited about sleep in various conditions, including pregnancy.